Welcome to the Community Difference Frisco. Powered by the Difference Media LLC. Hosted by Brian Poduska. And sponsored by Real Property Management Focus. Certainty Home Lending. Donovan Creative Agency. Bethany Rowan with Rowan Homes. PBJ Mortgage. Best Buddies. The Frisco Rough Riders baseball team. And by Team Watson Redeemers.
The Community Difference Frisco was created to serve as a platform for local leaders and business professionals to showcase their expertise, values, and commitment to their community. Overall, the podcast aims to create a stronger sense of community in North Texas by highlighting the often overlooked or unnoticed good work being done by local leaders, businesses, and professionals.
So sit back and relax as our host, co-host, and their guests share inspirational stories, experiences, thoughts and insights about being a professional along with the opportunities for our businesses to serve our communities in very special ways. Because the Community Difference Frisco starts now.
Good afternoon, Frisco. Welcome to the Community Difference Frisco. It's a podcast firmly rooted at the intersection of business development and community involvement. I am your host, Brian Poduska. You are watching episode number 37 of the Community Difference Frisco. And if you haven't seen us before, we are a community-based podcast where we put the spotlight on basically somebody of 5 different classes in the community: business owners, entrepreneurs, community leaders, meaning politicians, board members, Frisco ISD leadership, nonprofit leadership, and sports leadership. After all, we are Sports City USA here in Frisco. So those are the type of guests that we have coming onto the show. Once again, I am Brian Poduska. I am the host of the show. I also own a company called Real Property Management Focus, where we focus on your real estate investments. In addition to myself, I have 2 rotating co-hosts every single week. This week, we have the lovely Bethany Rowan on and Paul Fisher. So, Lennon, why don't you bring in Bethany first, ladies first, as we do on the program, and let her say hello. Hi, Bethany. How are you?
Hi, good afternoon. Glad to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm
Absolutely.
Bethany Rowan with Coldwell Banker, and I look forward to having Heather Howe be my guest today on this show.
Well, awesome. Great to see you. And twice in a 24-hour period of time, we were able to enjoy the Rough Riders game as part of our partnership with the Rough Riders and our Community Difference celebration. So good to see you again, Bethany. Why don't you go ahead and give the intro for Heather?
Okay, I'm happy to have Heather Howe with Vertex Mortgage on today. She is actually a 30-year veteran of the banking industry and knows so many people in this community and has given back so much in terms of what the bank does for the community at Frisco. On her free time, she loves spending time with her husband, loves traveling, and just loves hanging out on the weekends with her family. So I'm happy to have Heather on this today with our show.
All right. Where's Heather?
Where'd she go?
There she is. Hi,
There
Heather.
she is. Hi,
How are
Heather.
you, Heather?
What's that?
How are you today?
Great. I'm doing great. I feel honored that Bethany asked me to be on. So look forward to bring with y'all and learning different perspectives. So good to be here.
Awesome. Well, we're excited to have you. What are you most excited about to learn on the show today or be a part of?
Well, 2 things. I'm excited to learn about what's going on in Frisco because I'm assuming you guys are going to have all the latest news. And secondly, just to hear different people's perspective on our main topic today, which is how to build a brand and not come across salesy. I mean, in this world, it's about relationships and being relevant and having people know that you care and how to deliver that message without looking like a salesperson. So.
Love that. Well, you being in the banking industry for 30 years, you've had a great experience in that. So thank you for bringing that up. I did not call that out at the top of the broadcast here. We do have a rotating business topic. So this is the first week of September. So this is the new topic of the month, much as Heather alluded to. It is effective top of mind strategies, how to build a relevant, iconic brand without being salesy and self-promoting. So we will dive into that topic later in the show. Looking forward to hearing your perspective on that, Heather. Thanks for joining us today. Lennon, why don't you bring in Paul Fisher, our other co-host for today. What's up,
Hey,
Paul?
Brian, Bethany, and Heather. How y'all doing?
Hi, Paul.
Fantastic. Good to see you today. What's shaking?
Well, we're just happy to be busy again. Life seems to be a little bit better in the real estate and mortgage world. So it's kind of funny that all of our hosts and co-hosts and guests today are all kind of revolving in this same little business that we're in. So it should be interesting topics of discussion today. So, but yeah, like Brian said, I'm Paul Fisher. I'm with Certainty Home Lending. So we're a direct mortgage lender, located here in the Frisco, Plano area, but I've got 18 state licenses. So I can help you from California to Florida and up the East Coast if you decide to, if Brian decides he needs a vacation home in South Carolina to play more golf, we can definitely get him squared away. So, but I'm excited to have my guest on today. I've got Dana LaRue with Credit Cops, and she's also pretty heavily involved in Master Networks. But she's going to tell us all about Credit Cops, and it's not credit repair, it's credit justice. So she will have, I'm sure, some great insight on our topic of not being salesmen, because that is something they definitely preach in the Master Network group. So I think without further ado, let's bring on Dana.
Hi, how are
Good.
you?
How you doing, Dana?
I'm great. Thank you so much for inviting me, Paul.
Oh my gosh, you're welcome. I mean, I knew, and anytime we have topics like this about not being salesy, I mean, I think you'll have a lot of good, personal stories that you can bring to it and help our listeners and viewers, get something out of it. So excited to have you.
Thank you. Thank you.
For sure. Well, Dana, thanks for joining us today. What are you most excited about the show today?
Man, I'm excited. First off, to look at three people who the recent news is going to deeply affect their pocketbooks because interest rates are lower.
Yes.
Right? Well, everything's going to happen with that. And sometimes you need me.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
There we go. Well, you are the catalyst, the first step amongst all of our businesses. So, Paul, you brought up a good point that we are all somewhat intertwined in our career choices right now. So that's great. All right. Well, with that, guys, thanks for joining us. Look forward to the discussion today. We're going to take a quick break to give some love to our sponsors, and we'll be right back on the back end with what's going on in Frisco.
The Community Difference Frisco is made possible by Brian Poduska, owner of Real Property Management Focus; Paul Fisher, loan officer with Certainty Home Lending; Debbie Watson with Team Watson Redeemers; Ethan Donovan with Donovan Creative Agency; Jacqueline Kreider with PBJ Mortgage; Tracy Churchman with Best Buddies; Kristen King, marketing rep with the Frisco Rough Riders; and by Bethany Rowan, realtor with Rowan Homes. The Community Difference Frisco. Together, we can make the difference. And now, back to the show.
Are you ready?
Because it's time for
What's up, Frisco?
All right, welcome back. This is the segment of the show where we talk about what's going on in our fair burg of Frisco. So with that, Bethany, I'm going to go ladies first. Why don't you kick us off with what's up, Frisco?
Awesome. I will be glad to do that because this is my favorite time of the year. It's fall, and that means pumpkins and football and cooler weather, all the things. So not necessarily right in our community, but if you have not ever experienced the Dallas Arboretum during the fall, they are doing an amazing event starting September the 18th. And that will run through October, where they have a fairy tale theme this year with hundreds of pumpkins and gourds and beautiful flowers and things like that make the Dallas Arboretum such a neat and unique experience to go to. The other thing I want to bring up is there will be a really, really neat Frisco Arts and Music Walk. That is going to be on October the 1st. That's happening at Hall Office Park. If you're not familiar with where that's at, kind of right down there, just before you hit 21 and the tollway. They are going to have pop-up musicians there, everything from choir and jazz all kinds of music events. And then anyone that goes will get a sneak peek at that beautiful music venue that's going to be happening very soon in Frisco. We've been talking about it for a long time. So it's exciting to see that that's actually going to happen here in Frisco. And those are my two events to bring on the fall and bring on fun outside time.
Love it. Well, thank you for sharing that, Bethany. Paul, what you got going on?
Well, I've got something similar. So I've got something that's in Prosper, but there are neighbors to the north, or maybe being called the greater Frisco area. But I only bring it up because one of our Frisco chamber members, David Chalker, who is a local photographer and artist and also realtor, he's part of the Frisco Visual Arts Guild. He's part of the Frisco Visual Arts Guild, but also he leads the one in Prosper. And they're doing a kind of a wine and art walk in Prosper on September 20th and 21st. So David's a good, native Frisco, and I always want to support him and anything Visual Arts Guild for sure. And then the other thing that was brought up in chamber today, and I wanted to make sure we touch on it, it's going to be North Texas Giving Day starting September 19th. And two local nonprofits that do a lot for our area. One is Little Hearts of Hope, run by Carrie Steele. And then we've got Frisco Fast Packs that Elizabeth Watkins runs. So two local nonprofits here that would appreciate anything we can do for North Texas Giving Day, September 19th.
Great call out. Love that. Thank you, Paul. Dana, what do you have going on?
We've got a fundraiser for actually one of our chapter presidents. We've got a local business there in Frisco, the Neo Wellness Spa. Come to find out, one of our presidents, who is early 30s, just found out she has breast cancer. So they are doing a fundraiser for her. And they're doing everything that they can for her. Let me just read the list. They've got B12 injections. They've got Botox. They've got hydration, everything to get rid of anything that you need to give away. But it's going to Alexis Martinez. And their address is 3245 Main Street there in Frisco. And that's September the 7th.
Great.
Right around the corner.
Yes, from 10 to 1.
Great call out on that. Dana, Neowell, the owner of Neowell, is actually in our chapter on Fridays.
Awesome.
So not to say that you stole that from me, but
yeah, he's watching, Dana. I mean, now Brian's like, oh my gosh, what?
I will say that's a great call out. And I want to Deanna Kahneman is the owner of that Neowell, and Heather Rogers is also participating in that, both in our chapter. Give a shout out to them, as well as I'm going to try to get her tagline right because it's phenomenal. It's about the Botox, right? It's women love it, men lie about it. Everybody needs to get it. So go get your Botox, B12 injections. I think some IV hydration at that event, all obviously for a good cause. So,
for a really good cause.
Yep, great call on that one. Heather, I know we didn't prep you for this, but I didn't know if you had anything going on related to your business with Vertex or anything that you wanted to call out in the area.
I actually do. Vertex has a business call in county, and it's a monthly network event for women of any sort. It is a totally free event. They rotate who hosts it. The next one coming up is going to be 24th from 6 p.m. to 7:30, and it's going to be held at a restaurant off E. Brown Parkway in Carrollton. And it's a wonderful way, appetizer, wine, and just a lot of fellowship with and like-minded professionals. And part of what I love of Women in Business that Vertex sponsors is it's about make friends first, and the business will follow. And that's what we live through these business events. We have them in Dallas, Park Cities, Fort Worth, and then Collin County on a monthly basis. So that's a wonderful event to attend if any women in business would like to join us. And then second, still in the fall, further out, is our 9th annual Hope Store Wheel of Hope in downtown Garland, on the downtown Garland Square, lots of classic cars, food, and go as donation to Hope Store, which helps people with domestic violence. So 2 great opportunities out in the community and share time with other people and give good back for the Hope Store.
That's fantastic. Then that's exactly what we want to socialize in this program. So thank you, Heather, for sharing that. One thing that I'd ask, though, if we can go back to that first event and just because I think our audio was breaking in and out a little bit, if you could just highlight again the date and the location and time as to where that is.
So it's on September 24th from 6 p.m. to 7:30. It is at Awake Restaurant, which is at 3328 East Hebron Parkway in Carrollton. And it's Collin County Women in Business Vertex.
Beautiful. Okay, perfect. That one came through clear on my end. So thank you for doing that. I think we're just having some audio challenges, but and I think everybody else had the same. So I just want to make sure the audience heard that. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that, Heather. I appreciate you sharing that with us and the audience. Lennon, if you don't mind bringing up the few things that I was going to talk about, and I will do that here shortly. There it is right there. We've talked about this previously on the show. If you haven't seen this dude, he's hilarious. He's out there in TikTok and Reels and Shorts and all that stuff. He is coming. He's a nationally touring card magician. So he does some amazing things with cards, but he's also funny as all hell. So his name's Jason Ledane. He's coming to the NAC Theater in downtown Frisco, October 19th and 18th and 19th, 8 p.m. are the shows. Tickets are going to sell out. So if you haven't gotten them yet, jump on them. It's a small little venue, 250 people, and this dude sells out some huge venues. So come on out and see him in a cozy environment right here in downtown Frisco. Also okay, I'll come back to that one. The Incubator EDU. This is a Frisco ISD incubator. The event that you see on the screen here already happened. I went to it last week and it was phenomenal. So the reason I'm talking about it now, I'd love any business owners, entrepreneurs who would like to volunteer their time. There's a couple different ways to do that and use that time, but this program is an incubator for budding entrepreneurs. So it's a high school curriculum that is basically teaching youngsters how to become entrepreneurs. Think of it like a Shark Tank for high school students. It is an awesome program. Again, they're looking for local volunteers to help get this. It's already off the ground. It's in 5 of the 13 high schools in Frisco. They want to bring it out to all the different high schools. So we're looking for volunteers to help for that program. And Lennon, I don't know if you had the other comedian for NAC Theater.
Meeting information goes here, right?
If not, we can skip it.
Which one is it?
There's a comedian coming up in late September, I believe. I forget what his name is. I need the screenshot to remember his name. He's been on America's. There it is, Tom Cotter. I was wrong on the date. It's in November. So there he is. So this is an 18+ show. Just note that. But again, a dude who's been on America's Got Talent and several other big shows. He tours the country as well. He's coming right here to Frisco, downtown Frisco at the NAC Theater. That'll be November 16th. It's 2 shows, 7:30 and 9 p.m. So that'll be a good time. Come check that out. Anybody else have anything else? All right, good deal. Well, that will wrap up our What's Up Frisco segment. We will jump into a quick commercial break right now. And after that, we're going to jump into our business topic of September. This is week 1, so I'm excited to get into it. It is effective top of mind strategies, how to build a relevant, iconic brand without being salesy and self-promoting. So look forward to getting into that right after this commercial break.
And now a word from a few of our amazing sponsors that make the Difference Radio, live stream, and podcast network possible.
Total Care Emergency Room now has 9 locations in the DFW Metroplex. With no appointment needed, our incredible staff will get you checked in with no wait times. Our 5-star facility is open and fully staffed 24/7. We offer extensive treatment options for patients of all ages, providing on-site labs and imaging equipment, including CT, X-ray, and ultrasound, allowing us to provide fast, convenient care for our community. Total Care ER is your neighborhood emergency room. TotalCare.us.
Unwanted pests in your home can be stressful. From creepy crawlies to critters under the floorboards, they disrupt your peace of mind. But don't worry. All Pest Solutions is here to help. We offer a comprehensive range of safe and effective pest control solutions. We target all types of pests, big or small, including insects, rodents, and wildlife. All Pest Solutions, your local experts for a pest-free home. Breathe easy and enjoy your life again. Call today for a free quote. 972-442-1169 or email us at customerservice@allpestsolutions.com.
Buying a home? It should be an exciting time, not a stressful one. At Proven National Title, we understand that buyers want fast, reliable, transparent, seamless, convenient title and closing services. Therefore, our services are not limited to our office or yours. Let Jackie Tobar and all the fine folks at Proven National Title help make your dream of homeownership a reality. Call us today for a smooth and stress-free closing. Contact us at 972-752-8540 or email at jackie.tobar@provennationaltitle.com. Proven National Title. Give me one and I'll earn the rest.
To belong is one of our most basic human needs. Best Buddies International is the world's largest organization dedicated to ending the social isolation of 200 million individuals who have intellectual and developmental disabilities. We focus on meaningful one-to-one friendships, integrated employment, leadership development, and inclusive living. You have the power to make an impact, create change, and champion our mission of inclusion today.
Oh, there we go. We were dark there for a minute. I was wondering if we were back. It said we were live, but I couldn't see anybody. All right. Well, welcome back to the show. If you haven't seen our show before, you now know that we are a live show. So what you see is what you get. So we are producing live as we speak. Sometimes we have technical challenges. Sometimes we say the wrong things, but that is part of the joy of the show is we're authentic and you get to hear who we really are. So, all right, back on the show here, we are going to jump into the business topic of the month, and that is how to build a relevant, iconic brand without being salesy and self-promoting. Before we do so, speaking of big brands, it's not What's Up Frisco. I forgot to mention this previous segment. It's not What's Up Frisco, but it's What's Up Football. Paul pointed out earlier that I was wearing orange. It's not UT orange. It's Oklahoma State Cowboy orange. And they are playing at Oklahoma State in Stillwater against Landon's favorite team, our producer.
Uh-oh, you got buzz.
Yeah. Now that might be about the end of the show for you, Brian. I mean,
right.
he may just take you out.
It's been great being your host of the Frisco show. I am no longer employed, but we'll see what happens after this weekend, and then he can buzz me. But just wanted to call out that game and the reason that I'm wearing orange to the
next time I will be prepared with the Big Suey sounder. Wait,
he's calling you out.
Boy.
You know what needs to happen is y'all need to have a bet. Like whoever loses, then Brian's got to wear an Arkansas shirt for the next show.
There you go. I like where Paul's at because
I'm in on that. I'll do that.
There you go.
Fair enough. I've opened Pandora's box and the buzzer. The sounders that we're going to have coming out with Landon as the producer. So, all right, well, let's enough of the fun stuff. Let's get to the business topic, right? So, awesome topic, right? Building a relevant, iconic brand. So, tons of examples out there in our marketplace today as far as product, services, things like that. And Dana, I know your background a bit, and especially with the credit repair business, but personally on the Master Network side. And I know one of the key components and lessons that you guys teach in Master Networks and that we all learn also through this program too is be seen, be heard, be remembered, build that personal brand. So the first question to you is, how do you go about sending that message in your organization on the Master Network side and or the credit repair side?
Okay, so before let me start it. Before D&G came along, I was in a networking. I would say everybody needs to network if they've got a local business. That is vital. For me, what took our company from a brand new startup company to a nationwide company was a nationwide marketing company. I mean, a networking company. That's what Master Networks did for us. Because I'm not credit repair. Okay. I'm credit justice. And in the difference, I'll tell you the difference in a minute. But what makes this unique is when you have the opportunity as a local business, as a small business, as any business, to do your showcase, to explain what your business is about, what you need to do is don't sell the audience. You need to train the audience what makes you different than your competition. Okay, so you're literally training, 25 to 80 people to be your mini sales force, right? So that is the beautiful thing, because the key is so that people know, like, and trust you, so you have access to this, right? Because if they know, like, and trust you, and anyone in this class has an issue, guess who they're going to think of?
Right.
They're going to think of you.
100%. No, I love that. And I know that one of the things that you guys talk about is you're not just networking with the people in the room, you're networking with all the people in that device.
Yeah.
And that's, no, go ahead.
I had a young business owner. He was a paintless dent repair guy. And this is how important the word of mouth is. This was pre-COVID. And he came to me, he says, listen, I want to tell you, I got more business my first 2 months in Master Networks than I ever did the past 2.5, 3 years. I have been buying ads. He said, unfortunately, I have to close my business down because I spent so much money in advertising. So, I mean, the return on investment in your local community, and if you can build nationally, there are virtual networking opportunities to build nationally as well, from the comfort of your home in your pajamas.
Well, 100%. And
that's the best way to work, right?
From the bottom up.
That's the goal. There we go.
So I'm curious, Heather, you and I come, we're kind of in the same realm as being entrepreneurs, but you are in a different category than I am. But there is a bank on every corner, like there is a realtor in every coffee shop, in every store, and every place you'll see. So what do you guys see yourself doing that is a value proposition that is different than any other bank that you can provide that makes people say, hey, I want to bank there?
Well, that's a good question. So I do believe it's all about relationships. And I'll start it off with, I've been in banking so long, and ultimately I'm in sales, but I've never looked at myself that way. I've always looked at myself as a relationship builder, a connector, solver, and a resource. And if you approach your business that way, people see the genuine nature that you have, and that you're there to help them, refer business to them, and get to know them. And it's amazing how full circle, and how Vertex, our full name is Vertex Community Bank, and absolutely lived that. How they have made the difference in our local communities. I mean, just some of the things that they're involved in, they are living the community side, from going through junior achievement. We do budgeting workshops. We're donating to Genesis Women's Shelter, Hope's Farm, Minnie's Food Pantry, Behind Every Door, Habitat for Humanity. So we're getting out there in the community and living side of our bank. We're not trying to sell widgets. We're not trying to, do cold calling for, do you need a lock? We are really out in the community, hand touching people that are our neighbors, to see what we can do and get help and get the word out that way about who Vertex really is. And the second hand of that is, we are Vertex, in case a lot of you go, how did we come up with that name? The Veri is from Veritas, which is the Latin word for truth. So it's truth. And then of course, Texas is for the text. And what we are built on was truth, transparency, and integrity. And within our communities, and the other part that Vertex is branding themselves as is the Gulf Bank of Texas. And they felt like there was our core values of the truth, transparency, and integrity were a true crossover and synonymous with the game of golf. And they have also sponsored youth in that capacity, underprivileged youth, people just getting their startups. So they are branding in the community in the golf side, as well as in the community in the everyday side. That is who we're trying to touch and learn, our story, and we want to learn about them, and, hope that we can help them along the way when it comes to their next financial decision.
So basically, I mean, what you guys see your foundation is, community collaboration, right? It's really not about banking and where you're going to put your money and, can you come in and get a check from me today? It's really about how you guys are collaborating with the community to really be a part of it and give back, right?
And I look at it when somebody has a banking question or a banking need, I want them to think of myself or my counterparts and Vertex, that, as a trusted advisor, is somebody that they respect in the community, and not somebody that is trying to, push product. It's about building.
Ooh, I like that trusted advisor word. We're gonna touch on that a little bit later in our new segment at the end of the show. So we'll come back to that. But awesome share on the Vertex name and how it was generated. I didn't know that, and I'm guessing a lot of folks out there didn't know that. So
I didn't know that.
I love that. Hey, Tammy tuning in from the. She's our new host of the Rockwall show. So thanks for tuning in, Tammy. And she says hi specifically to Dana. I'm sure she says hi to us too. But
hi, Tammy.
Well, kind of speaking on that, Brian. I mean, I was thinking about what Dana said. About storytelling, and it kind of made me think that, not being salesy and self-promoting, people have to get to know you in some way. And to me, it's being relatable. I mean, there might be a past experience that I've had, or, or a success or a failure or things like that. And you can only get that out there if you're not afraid to share, if you're not afraid to be relatable. And, kind of like Heather said, I mean, you don't want to go into it, with the pitch, which is one of the things I love about Master Networks. That I don't ever feel that I've got to go in there and pitch those people. It's like a group of friends that I see on Thursdays, and then, the business will follow, with it when it is. But that's kind of what I want to ask Dana. I mean, I know you get probably multiple stories out of every group that you see or whoever you touch. I mean, what are some of the successes you found, with either storytelling or relatable? And I'm talking about like for credit costs specifically. The differences there. I mean, how do you grow that, with all especially with all the people in this podcast? I mean, you got you got some prospects in here.
Well, here's the beautiful thing. So I worked for the attorney that had this computer program. I had belonged to a networking group with him. And what I love about Master Networks, and this is before we were regional partners, is they teach you to be a little bit more clear than the people that you're already talking to, because the people you're talking to, they already have the lingo down, right? Like if I said Oscar to anybody, most of the people would have no idea what that is. Well, when the person introduced me for my showcase, they called me D&G Credit Repair, and apparently I rolled my eyes really big. Somebody on my feedback form said, "You never explained what made you not credit repair. You didn't explain the difference." So that made me draw that little explanation. Okay. Now, fast forward, I get a phone call from a lender that I'm working with who has a client. And this is how the two kind of blend together. All right. Honestly, this is how the two blend together. This person had lost their 18-year-old son in a car wreck who was going to take over his heating and air conditioning business. You have any kind of catastrophe like that in your life, your world is upside down. Obviously, they're in depression, him and his wife. His wife handled her depression through retail therapy, a little over $100,000 in retail therapy, which caused marital issues, which then caused a divorce, which then there's IRS issues. So all those things happened to this gentleman. And I'm talking to him, and I said, "Look, I have a question. Do you still, how are you making your money? Are you still able to work?" And he says, "I can work, but I don't even have the money to pay for advertising." And I said, "You know what? I'm part of a networking group, and we don't have an HVAC person in our chapter. Would you like to be the person that receives those referrals? So he came along, joined, and I'm fast forwarding now about 5 years. During that time, he's old like me. Everything is like Post-it notes and spiral, right? So we taught him to put his business in a CRM because honestly, that is your book of business, is your CRM. He ended up selling his business. I mean, in less than a decade, maybe 7 years. He literally went from thinking he was going to be out of everything to selling his business for $2 million just from a little education and knowing local people. So you hear me say this, it's not the rock, it's the ripple, right? You never know who they know.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great point. And I wanted to go back on something you said earlier, Dana. You mentioned, the ability, or you mentioned something about somebody spending all kinds of money on, paid ads and Google ads and things like that. I can relate to that. When I first started my business, I dropped a lot of money into that and realized the ROI was basically zero. I got leads, but they were garbage, number one. And number two, it's super expensive, right? So I want to ask this question, and also from the perspective of prior to opening my real estate business, I was in corporate America, worked for PepsiCo, which has, when we're talking about iconic brands, Pepsi brand, Dorito, all the Frito-Lay brands, Gatorade, Quaker, you name it, right? There's some huge brands that are iconic. And obviously a big corporation like that has deep pockets to spend a lot of money on advertising. Also product efficacy and things like that build your brand. But in this setting that we have here, on the folks that we have in the call and our target audience being small business owners, entrepreneurs, community leaders, what is the key or a few key metrics or tactics to build your brand, to build yourself, become a top of mind strategy, develop a top of mind strategy? What are some of those key tactics, not having that massive advertising budget, sales budget, etc.? And actually, I'll throw this one to Heather. Yeah, sorry to put you on the hot seat, Heather, but I'm curious from your perspective, with Vertex being in a very competitive environment that has the huge iconic brands of Chase, Wells Fargo, et cetera. How do you guys differentiate being on a smaller local community bank? You mentioned it earlier, you get involved in the community, which I think is fantastic. But I'm curious to hear, if you had no advertising budget, how would you go about building that top of mind strategy?
For me personally, I mean, it's what I've been doing for all the years I've been out there, which is networking and getting to know people on a personal level. And a lot of the small to mid-sized businesses are lost in the big banks, and we're a breath of fresh air for them. So we get our story out that's our market. We want to take care of them. And a great example of that, I have a customer that I've banked for the last 12 years, and he started off very small, a few $1,000s in the bank. He was a marketing firm, and he's grown over the years, multi-million-dollar business and assets. And our message is, whether you have $100 in the bank or multi-million dollars in the bank, we treat you the same. You have an assigned officer. That's part of our story of Vertex Bank. We're not going to give you a 1-800 number to call. That's story we're telling our community. And whether you have a $100 startup account with us or need all the bells and whistles, you're still going to have our cell phone. We're going to take care of you on a personal level. And that's just grassroots good banking, and the message that we're putting out there, that doesn't cost anything other than hiring great people and seasoned bankers. And I used to say, not in an arrogant way, but I don't even look at my competition of Chase and Bank of America. I just think if we're doing the right thing and we're getting out there and we're networking and we're telling our story and we're getting to know people and we're referring people, it's full circle. And it's more of, it sounds really elementary, but that's how we're growing our.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's why people say go back to the basics. I mean, because the basics never die out.
Right.
When I meet people, or if I want to, introduce myself to somebody, I don't do. I mean, this is the extent of the Zoom calls that I do. I mean, I am much better in person and face to face than I am trying to do something on over the over the phone or the Zoom. So I think that's what I got out of that story, Heather. Is that it's kind of the grassroots, back to basics. Get out there and be seen in your community and meeting with whether it's your competition, if it's I've got a lot of friends that are mortgage lenders, and we kind of work on each other's problems and successes together. So I think there's, especially in North Texas, there's enough business for everybody, but definitely getting back to the basics.
For sure.
Yeah, I love that. And from a customer experience, if what I take out of that is it's a customer experience thing, right? Especially with a bank in a competitive environment, community based, it has to be a good consumer or customer experience. So I love that. I don't know if I'd call it innovative, but it's certainly customer and consumer centric. And so that helps enhance your final product. So looks like we may have lost Heather with some technical challenges there, but hopefully we can get her back online. Dana, we've got a few more minutes in the segment. I wanted to ask you from an education standpoint, just because I know a bit about how Master Networks approaches things. How have you utilized education either in Master Networks or your credit repair business? Because obviously there's a lot of education that has to happen there.
You made a boo-boo, Brian. It's not credit repair, it's credit justice.
Sorry, yes. Well, like I said, we make mistakes with our words. We'll get the credit justice. We'll get that down pat.
I'm just trying to keep myself up on Dana's ladder. Trying to
I'm quickly working my way down. So that's cool. I'll grab my shovel and just keep digging. That's cool. No, Dana, my question from an education standpoint is, how do you guys leverage education when it comes to, building that iconic brand and not being salesy?
Oh, gosh. Okay, so I'm just going to separate it. In Master Network, the beautiful thing is when you become an entrepreneur, there's really no education. College does not prepare you for that. It just doesn't. And the important thing is that you take your education and you condense it, right? You need to learn from other people's mistakes. I went to so many different networking organizations before Master Networks actually came to North Texas. You don't know what you don't know, and you don't even know you don't know it until it bites you. And those bites can be very painful as a new entrepreneur, right? So what I loved about it was the education. And guys, you get the book for free. You just go to mymasternetworks.com or masternetworks.com. The book is called The 5 Business Principles Every Entrepreneur Needs, and then the 1 Master Skill. And these are the 5 skills are thinking, targeting, tracking, timing, and team building, right? In that order. You get the order wrong, you could be like my paintless dent repair guy and go out of business, right? And then the number 1 is learning to network, right? People tell you you need to go network, but they never show you how to network, right? I'm sure you've sat down in front of somebody and before your bottom and the fabric of the chair, they had their brochure under your nose, right? Well, that's a turnoff. No, nobody likes the salesy people, right? So it teaches you how to build those relationships, and that, as we've all talked about, that's the key, is getting people to know, like, and trust you, right? That's the key, and you need to learn that, and you need to have integrity. You need to do what you say you're going to do, and the good news and the bad news about your reputation is it precedes you.
Yep. We say that quite often here, is that you're branding yourself one way or the other.
Right.
Whether you like it or not, you're branding yourself. So it can either be in the positive light or negative light. Indifferent is more negative, right? So it's either positive or negative. You're going one way or the other. So no, great points. We're about at the end of our segment here. So what I'm going to do is we'll go to commercial break real quick. We're going to come back and we're going to put the spotlight on our guests. We want to learn a little bit more about you. We want the audience to learn a little bit more about you guys, or you gals in this case. So with that, Lennon, go ahead and take us to commercial. We'll be right back.
Everyone deserves access to affordable health insurance, but with traditional insurance, costs can be high and getting coverage can be complicated. JP Direct Health is a simpler, more affordable way to get the health coverage you need. With plans for individuals, families, and small businesses, you can save money on monthly premiums without the need for physicals. At jpdirecthealth.com, we specialize in customizing coverage to fit almost every budget with affordable PPO plans and many other benefits. With over 100 5-star Google reviews, JP Direct Health is a trusted resource making health insurance affordable and accessible for everyone year-round. Affordable health insurance solutions are a proactive protection, not a reactive solution. Visit jpdirecthealth.com today and see how much you can save.
I'm always here to help. Thank you.
Enjoy DFW's most fun, affordable night out and catch the Rough Riders, the AA affiliate of the Rangers, at beautiful Riders Field in Frisco. Get your tickets at ridersbaseball.com. The Frisco Rough Riders, the future stars of your Texas Rangers.
Are you or someone you know pregnant or planning to conceive? Caitlin Smith is both a certified childbirth doula and instructor offering childbirth classes to couples wanting an unmedicated, physiological birth outside of the hospital setting. Caitlin has served the local community since 2021 and specializes in working closely with midwives, all while best supporting a mother's physical body, her partner, and the birth environment. You can contact Caitlin through Instagram at thismamadoula or email her at caitlinsmithdoula@gmail.com to learn more about childbirth classes or her doula services.
Are you looking to buy a home? The process can be daunting, but it doesn't have to be. With the help of a qualified loan officer like Paul Fisher, you can get the financing you need and get into your dream home. Paul Fisher, a direct local lender with Certainty Home Lending, has many years of experience helping people buy homes. He's knowledgeable, experienced, and he'll work with you to find the best loan for your needs. Contact Paul Fisher today to get started on your home buying journey. He'll help you every step of the way, so you can relax and focus on finding your dream home. Visit www.loansbyfisher.com or call 817-308-7361 to schedule a consultation with Paul. MLS number 2018111.
Now back to the show.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the segment of the show where we're going to deep dive a little bit with our guests to understand a little bit more who they are. We know what they do, but who are they, right? We want to know your whys, your winding road to get to where you got to, because when it comes to entrepreneurship or being with a community bank for an extended period of time, right, there is a good story behind that. So with that, Heather, let's go to you first. So you guys are a local bank here, rooted in, you've got Frisco locations, you're rooted in North Texas. Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got to with Vertex and what drove you and kept you in banking for as long as you've been in.
I'd love to share that with you. Actually grew up in California and had a child development degree and was planning to be a school teacher. And when I was growing up, I decided, well, I need a part-time job to have my fun money for college. And I became a bank teller. And I really enjoyed it. I mean, I look forward to going to work every day. Go to 1996. I moved here to Texas from California and enrolled in the ISD's alternative certification because I never got my California certification to be a teacher. And had already started a banking job here, same thing, college, went to new accounts, still was thinking I was going to be a teacher, went and taught for one semester in DISD, and clearly realized it was not what I wanted to do. And the bank that I worked for at the time called me and said, I heard you decided not to teach after all. We'd love to have you come back. And at that time, I really thought to myself, well, until I figure out what I really want to do, I'll go back to banking because that's what I know. And now 32 years later, I absolutely love it. It has been, to me, again, the relationships hands down with my clients. That is what gets me up every day. That's what brings me joy. That's the why in my business. And sorry, I had another thought on that and I just forgot my thought. Oh, how I got to Vertex. So I was with Guarantee Bank for 11 years, and then I went to Share Plus Bank, which actually the credit union to PepsiCo, since you work there.
Mm-hmm.
They became a publicly traded bank. We sold to Green Bank, and then Vertex bought Green Bank back in January of 2019. So I've been in the same place for a very long time. It's just changed names on the door. And the blessing to me is Veritex's culture is amazing. And you never know when you're being acquired what that new work environment can be. And it is a blessing. So that's kind of in a nutshell how I got to where I am and what I love to do.
That's awesome. Well, so yeah, I think you guys had a location, a banking location right in the Frito-Lay building. If I, back when you were working directly with PepsiCo. So that's awesome. Question for you: what do you like to do in your free time?
I'm a mother of 3 boys, 27, 24, 21. Love my family time. Been married for the past 18 years. We're a blended family. Really simple things. I mean, as we all know, work will go fast and furious. And when I get to work, I love to spend time with my husband. I have a Labradoodle and a glass of wine and sit on my back patio. We love traveling, as most people do. Even if it's just a small town road trip, I enjoy those trips. And recently had my mom and dad move here. So a lot of my free time is doing what I love, which is my time with my family.
Gotcha. Well, now I understand why you and Bethany are have a relationship, because you share a lot of those passions, as do most of us here on
We do.
So
yes,
between travel and wine and
hey.
Yeah.
Watch it.
Just woke up. She heard the wine part.
Watch it.
Awesome. We broke up a little bit there, but I heard something about wine, so it had to be a good zinger. Awesome. Well, thanks, Heather. Thanks for sharing that. Appreciate hearing more about that background. That's great that you've found your home in banking after thinking you were going to be a teacher. So there is life after or instead of teaching, whether it's Bethany and her education career and yours, and you started and then took a detour, which is great. Awesome. Dana, how about you? What drives you?
Oh man, you know what drives me are seeing the changes in other people. I mean, long story kind of short, I know that my makes a difference to people's lives. They can't get what I've got unless they're working with an attorney anywhere else. Right? What made me separate from the attorneys using this, I used to work for Experience, so I knew how to balance a credit file. And the gentleman that invented the computer program, he said, your files out from everyone's nationwide. What are you doing? So I told him, he said, I need you to open your own company. That's where the D&G came from. Dana, G, Gary. Not real inventive. There we are. And
it's simple. That's all good.
Right. Well, our colors are black and white because the law is black and white, and then Tiffany blue because, well, it's high quality stuff. So what made this so different for me is I didn't know how to build a business. I didn't know. I figured, when you're good at something, you're good at that one thing. You don't really pay attention to the other 85 things behind you. Right? And those are the 85 things that can really trip you up. So if you're a new entrepreneur, what I would say to you is the things that don't matter, when I say aren't income producing for you, let somebody else do it. Like for me, it was, I got an answering service, which saves me so much time, because when you're when you're focused on something, it takes you 20 minutes to get back there if the phone rings to answer it. And then it takes you 20 minutes to get back if the phone rings again. So that for me was doing it. But again, if you're a stay-at-home person, have somebody else clean your house. Think of how much money you can do if you're on the phone and you're letting somebody else clean your house. I was told that's what God wants you to do. You're supporting another small business while you're making more money.
So wait a minute, Dana, if I hear you correctly, I'm supposed to tell my husband that God said I need to have someone come clean my house.
So that you can continue your income producing activity.
I'm writing that down.
I'm guessing that you make more money when you sell a house than you do when you clean a toilet.
Exactly.
There's your life hack, the key takeaway from
That's
today.
right.
Love it. Right out of Dana LaRue's mouth.
That's the key to marriage right there.
I love it.
The good Lord said.
And he can have somebody mow the lawn while he does something else.
There we go. But I like the
See,
equal
now
opportunity.
you're supporting 2 local businesses.
That's right.
There you go, giving it back. I love it. Well, Dana, how did you end up in North Texas? Tell us that.
Oh my goodness! So I'm from Lubbock, Texas, originally.
Oh, right.
I took a circuitous journey around the world. In Lubbock, really the only way to leave is to marry somebody from Reese Air Force Base, right? So I married. We got a 2-year order to go to RAF Falconberry in the UK, and I was young. I didn't have any kids, and I thought it was brilliant. Reagan comes into office, and in order to build the budget, to balance the budget, you had to stay where you were. So our 2-year tour became a 7.5-year tour. So came back to Texas, got divorced, got remarried, and we were in a little network marketing company called Excel Communications. I don't know how any of you guys are, but that was the fastest growing network marketing company. They just sold dial phones. That's all we did. So that brought us to Dallas. And, at that time was when the banks, you guys will remember this, when they were doing like drug money loans, you just had to show them your income. You didn't have to. That's it. That's the kind of loan we got.
Yeah.
That's the kind, and they're back, right? But that's what brought us here. And I don't miss it at all. When we left, our friends were like, why would you leave Lubbock to go to Dallas? All that traffic. I'm like, 2 reasons. One, when the wind blows, the sky stays blue. It doesn't in Lubbock, it goes brown.
It turned brown.
And I want my kids to know that trees grow naturally. You don't have to go to Tom's Tree Place to buy one. And if you're from Lubbock, I'm telling the truth.
I know what you're talking about.
Well, I think, Bethany, you might have put a post up that showed a guy on horseback in the Walmart parking lot.
Yep, I sure did. I was just in Lubbock. That's God's country, is what my husband will say. And it was a great weekend celebrating Texas Tech and Lubbock, but you just want to go there to visit. You don't want to live there.
Unless you take your horse to Walmart to go shopping.
Right. Hey.
All right, real quick, Dana, what do you like to do in your free time?
Oh man, I got 5 grandbabies. So Heather, the grandbabies are way more fun than the regular kids, just so you know. Love watching them playing with them, and golfing with Gary. I like that too. Hanging out with my husband, he's pretty fun.
Yeah, I can attest to that. Gary's a good time and good guy. I'll have to get on the golf course and see how his game is.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, I play golf. If I start with 3 balls and I end with more balls, I won.
If I only bring 3 balls to the golf course, I may be done in like 6 holes.
Yeah, it might be. If you only bring 3 balls to the golf course, it means you're just doing putting practice. You're not off the putting green.
You better grab a few from the range and bring it along.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you, ladies, for sharing about you. Once again, that's what we want the audience to know, is who you are, in addition to your businesses. So thank you for sharing some of your personal life with us. And with that, guys, we're going to take a quick break. It'll be our final break. Then we're going to come back and do our new segment. So stay tuned for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the Community Difference Business Development Alliance, powered by the Difference Media, LLC, our mission is to empower small business owners by transcending acceptable behaviors and outcomes into exceptional realms. We foster a culture of self-awareness, accountability, and proactive engagement, guiding individuals to recognize and overcome indifference towards transformative actions, habits, behaviors, and processes driving meaningful change. Through strategic networking, impactful content creation, and innovative top-of-mind strategies, we cultivate brand relevance and differentiation, enabling our partners and the Difference community to stand out in crowded markets. With a focus on building authentic connections, amplifying brand presence, and driving sustainable growth, we equip entrepreneurs with the tools and mindset to navigate the complexities of entrepreneurship with confidence, innovation, and resilience. Together, we aim to be the catalyst for difference makers, propelling them towards their highest potential and leaving a lasting impact on their businesses and communities. That's where our community podcasts come in. These podcasts lie directly at the intersection of innovative business development and community involvement, helping to bridge the gap between small business obscurity often seen in our communities. The community-based podcasts called the Community Difference Series are an integral part of integrating all facets of modern business development into a package of great content, positive impact branding, and top-of-mind presence, thus fulfilling the greater mission we set forth. When we set out to be difference makers, we can learn to make a difference and find the success and impact innately desired by all business owners and entrepreneurs. We are difference makers.
And now, back to the show.
And now it's time for What's the Difference?
All right, you heard it there. Our new segment is called What's the Difference? So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you a question. It'll be what's the difference between, and I'd love to hear your answers on it. And we have, a panel of experts who have weighed in on what the, I guess, not right or wrong answer, but the most, approved answer is. So we'll go with that. So I'm going to ask the question. We mentioned it earlier. I think it was Heather who brought it up, the trusted advisor topic. So the question is, what is the difference between being a trusted advisor and being a service provider? And Heather, since you brought up trusted advisor earlier, I'm going to throw it to you first. Oh, maybe muted.
No, she doesn't have a mic on.
No mic on. All right. So Heather, we're going to let you get your mic on. Dana, what is, again, the question, what's the difference between being a trusted advisor and being a service provider?
Wow. A trusted advisor, I guess that means you've gone through everything with somebody and you came out the other end and you were still friends holding hands, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in what I do, and same with Bethany, it literally can be life-changing, right? Mm-hmm. Same with Paul. I mean, you're changing people's lives. The trusted advisor means they call you again if they're in trouble, and they're referring their people to you because they know what a great job you did with them. Customer service. All right. I guess for me. In my head, I'm thinking customer service is someone who answers a phone in a call center and is an order taker. And they just have to keep everybody happy.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Like, so you might have your AT&T person provide you some customer service when your TV is down. When you need some technical support, right?
Right.
But a trusted advisor would be someone like more higher level things that are in your life, getting technical support for your TV. Although my husband might debate me on this. If it's football season, he is a high level individual in our home. Versus our financial advisor, our person who's he's a trusted advisor with some of the top most important things in our life, that we are going to be dealing with, on a daily basis. So I'm kind of with you, Dana, kind of like customer service versus top low. It's a whole different level of a trusted advisor.
Right.
That you brought up a good point, Bethany, because that's I was thinking of I can't what was the term, Brian? It was like service advisor, whatever. But yeah,
trusted advisor versus service provider.
Yeah, somebody on the other end of the phone, like you said, an order taker. So both, yeah. I mean, I don't think I can compete with Dana or Bethany's answers. So I think they had the right one. So that's where I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
All right. Hi, Debbie. Thanks for watching.
Hi, Debbie.
All right, Heather. Are you?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. There you are.
Mine said I was on, but then it had nothing. So I logged back out, logged back in. I didn't get to hear what they said, but I caught the tail end, and I believe I'm in agreement, because I think a trusted advisor is somebody you look to as an expert, has your best interest in mind, knows who you are, has years of experience. And a service provider is anybody, could be pushing product, knocking on your door, calling your house to try and sell you something. You don't know the credentials or what their experience level is.
Yeah. I like this one because, service provider, okay, that's a positive. It has a positive connotation too, right? Trusted advisor, I believe, takes it to that next level, right? So I like the question because it's two positive things, but there's a difference, right? And I'll read the official answer from the approved experts, the approved panel here. A trusted advisor is seen as a partner in success, offering strategic insights and guidance that go beyond basic services, earning trust and loyalty.
Good job, everybody.
You guys freaking nailed it, right? I think every one of you guys nailed that point.
You don't need a search engine; you just need us.
We don't need a panel of experts. We got it right here on the TV.
Exactly. That's what this is.
And then it goes a little bit deeper. It says a service provider fulfills specific tasks or delivers products without necessarily contributing to the broader business goals or building long-term relationships. So again, I mean, you guys totally nailed it, which is pretty awesome. All right, let's see. Quick time check. Yeah, we got time for another question here. And I like this one because it's more from a personal standpoint. So it doesn't really matter what business you operate here, but the question is, what's the difference between working with a passion and working for a paycheck?
That's easy.
Yeah, it's an easy one. It's a little bit of a softball question, but I'd love to hear everybody's answers on this one. So let's go ahead and start with Heather on this. Hi, Jacqueline. Good to see you tuning in. Thank you.
Well, working for a passion means you love what you do and you're excited to go in every day. And even when you get off, still brainstorming about if something didn't go as well as you wanted, what you want to do differently, because you love it and you're trying to perfect your craft and you're trying to help the people that you serve if you're in a service related career. And just going for a paycheck, you're clocking in, clocking out. When you clock out, you're done for the day. You've mentally, heart-wise checked out and aren't even sharpening your tools, so to speak, and trying to get better at it. So I think passion is about the joy that your career gives you, and you enjoy sharing what you do with people because you love what you do.
Yeah,
love it. And I'm going to throw another wrinkle on the question. Can they both exist? Can they coexist? Does one make the other easier? Right. So Dana, give me your perspective on the question first, and then if you want, you can add my second.
Okay, so you got to have passion. You got to have enthusiasm. The last four letters in enthusiasm stand for I am sold myself. Right? You have to believe whatever it is you're telling is the best out there. At least I am not one of those people that can sell ice to Eskimos because they don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
But now my husband could sell ice to Eskimos. He's good at it. I can't do that. We're different people. But it's just like launching a chapter. So and just as a shout out, we are launching chapters in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We're having a big happy hour September 10th there if you know anybody. But we are launching more Master Networks chapters. And I see on a personal level how this affects not just their business, but their life. I mean, that guy I told you that about before with the air heating and air conditioning, he was suicidal. And in his whole world changed when he got into his chapter. And you do the face-to-faces, you get to know, like, and trust, and it's enormous. So enthusiasm, passion, education, they all go together. It's worked right.
Yeah, love it. All right, we got time for quick 20-second thoughts from you, Paul, and you, Bethany, and then we're going to go around the horn and wrap the show. It's amazing how an hour and 15 flies.
Well, if we're doing on that, it's basically what Dana and Heather both said. If paycheck is clock in, clock out, not my job. There's too many negative connotations with it. Having a passion for it. I mean, there's always one or two things that you love the most about your job. Mine is people and helping people and being service oriented. So great question. I mean, it's you think it's easy to answer, but there is a difference. We know what the difference is.
For sure. All right, Bethany, 20 seconds.
Oh my gosh, so quick. So I'd had way more to say on this than that. But, I think the important part about a paycheck and passion is knowing when you've lost passion for something and removing yourself from that because you're not giving value to the people that are working for you, and stepping out of that because you're just collecting a paycheck. And so I have had great experience with that, moving from the world of education where I had 20 years of passion for it, and knowing that it was my time to go and move into a different passion. And so I think there's something to be said for that.
That's awesome. That is a great answer and a great, twist on it, because you're right. Once you lose that passion, time to move on. That's awesome. Well, I'll read the official answer here. And once again, you guys nailed it. You'll see the ism in there. So working with passion involves deep engagement, enthusiasm. So there you go. A genuine interest in the work you do. Working for a paycheck is primarily motivated by financial rewards with little intrinsic motivation or satisfaction. And I think that, Bethany, you hit the nail on the head there. Once you lose that, you're just working for a paycheck and it's time to move on. All right, guys. Well, that will wrap up our new segment. What's the difference? That's kind of fun. And I mean, if I had to give out grades, I'd give you guys an A+, according to the official answers. So.
Right. The rest of your shows this month are going to have a hard time catching up, Brian.
You guys set the bar way up here. I don't know. It's going to be tough. But all right. Well, with that, guys, I want to go around the horn real quick. Let the guests just remind folks who you are and what you do. And then the question I will ask you is, what's your key takeaway from the show today? So, Dana, who are you? What do you do? And what's your key takeaway? You got 30 seconds each.
So my name is Dana LaRue. I own the Credit Cops. Man, my biggest takeaway today is that I am surrounded by a lot of people that are friggin' smart.
All right. Well, I mean, that's a pretty damn good takeaway there. I like it. Thank you. All right. Well, Heather, what about you? Who are you? What do you do? And key takeaway from today, 30 seconds.
I'm Heather Howe, and I'm the business development director for Vertex Bank. And I love taking the stress out of the banking side for my clients and helping them with some of their big decisions and being a resource for them and guiding them and holding their hands when they need it. And my biggest takeaway, we're all in a similar realm of careers. And it was amazing to see how like-minded our perspective thoughts were, which isn't a surprise, but I love to hear that there's so much continuity between treat our clients and what we're looking for and the message we're trying to deliver.
Yeah, good points. Good points indeed. And I couldn't agree with you more. It's awesome to have, people of all different businesses on the show, especially in today's show where we're all kind of intertwined in some way, shape, or form, either financially or in the real estate market. So thank you guys all for your insights today. It's been awesome visiting with you guys. Thank you so much for all the information that you shared. With that, we will wrap up the show. Paul and Bethany, thank you guys again for being my awesome co-hosts. It's always great to see you.
Happy.
Absolutely. Give that little sign up there. And I will say, Lendon, go Pokes. And with that, we'll sign off.
All right.
Thank you for watching today's show.
Thank
The Community Difference Frisco is made possible by Brian Poduska, owner of Real Property Management Focus. Paul Fisher, loan officer with Certainty Home Lending. Debbie Watson with Team Watson Redeemers. Ethan Donovan with Donovan Creative Agency. Jacqueline Kreider with PBJ Morgan. Tracy Churchman with Best Buddies. Kristen King Marketing Rep with the Frisco Rough Riders. And by Bethany Rowan, Realtor with Rowan Homes. The Community Difference Frisco. Together, we can make the difference.